Guys, imagine you're at a BTS concert, having the time of your life, and suddenly the person on stage doesn't look like Jeon Jungkook anymore. He looks like David Martinez from Cyberpunk. Edgerunners, standing right there in front of you, alive and breathing. Sounds like a fever dream, right? But this actually happened. And the moment it went viral, the entire ARMY timeline exploded. Screaming, crying, losing their minds, all at once. So in this video we're breaking down the phenomenon that's been setting the internet on fire. How Jungkook, BTS's Golden McKnight, suddenly went trending not for his singing or his dancing, but for one single outfit that made fans everywhere say the exact same thing at once. Wait, is that David Martinez, or is that Jungkook? If you're a BTS fan, a Cyberpunk, Edgerunners fan, or honestly both, you need to stick around for this one. Because we're not just going to talk about the outfit, we're going deep into why this moment feels so special, so personal, and honestly, so David Martinez, in the best way possible. Let's get into it. Here's how it went down. This all happened during BTS's Arirang World Tour, specifically on day 1 of their London stop at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, on July 6, 2026. This was BTS's long-awaited return to London, and understandably, it was already an emotional night for ARMY who'd been waiting years to see them live again. There were plenty of memorable moments that night. But somehow, the thing everyone ended up talking about wasn't the setlist, wasn't the new choreography reveal. It was one outfit Jungkook wore during a segment of the show. Let's break it down piece by piece, because once you see it laid out, you'll understand exactly why the internet lost it. First, a plain black long-sleeve crewneck t-shirt. Simple, casual, the perfect base layer. Second, he paired it with loose, dark gray pants, relaxed, but still sharp on stage. Third, and this is the part that really set everything off, a lime green and white windbreaker jacket. Worn open, unzipped, collar popped up, and to finish it off, layered silver beaded chain necklaces stacked around his neck. The second this combination showed up on the big screens and in fan-recorded clips, people connected the dots instantly. That open lime and white jacket, the black tee, the loose gray pants, the layered silver chains. That's almost exactly the signature look of David Martinez, the main character of Cyberpunk, Edgerunners. For anyone who isn't familiar, David Martinez is the protagonist of Cyberpunk, Edgerunners, the anime produced by Studio Trigger, and released on Netflix. The story is set in Night City, a brutal, high-stakes cyberpunk world, where David, just an ordinary teenager at first, transforms into an edgerunner, a street-level mercenary, after losing his mother. He joins a crew led by Main, and throughout the series he goes through a whirlwind of friendship, love, betrayal, and ultimately becomes a legend of Night City. Though at a devastating personal cost. And one of the most iconic visual elements of his character is that neon yellow-green jacket, which basically became a symbol of his transformation from an average kid into a street legend. So you can already see why. The moment Jungkook showed up in a similar color palette and silhouette, the internet connected those dots within seconds. Now let's get into the fun part. How fans and the internet reacted. Once the clips and photos started spreading across X, TikTok, and Instagram, keywords like Jungkook, David Martinez, and Cyberpunk shot straight to the top of conversations. Big fan accounts and pop culture pages reshared the clips almost instantly. And within a short window, this became one of the most talked about moments of the entire London leg of the tour. What's interesting is that the reactions came in waves, almost like clockwork. The first wave was pure hysteria. This was the instant reaction. The second people saw the photos, caps lock went on. Emojis flooded the comments. People were screaming in real time. A lot of fans said the resemblance was almost unbelievable, like it was pulled straight from the anime frame by frame. The second wave was affection mixed with disbelief, in the best way. This is where a lot of comments started calling Jungkook endearing for basically bringing his favorite character to life on stage. It wasn't just about the clothes, it was about the passion and dedication behind it. And for a lot of fans, that kind of genuine, nerdy enthusiasm is one of the most relatable and human sides of his personality. The third wave was theories and speculation. And this is where it got really interesting because fans started asking, was this outfit a coincidence, or was it intentional? A quiet tribute to one of his favorite characters. And to back up that theory, fans dug up more evidence. Turns out, before this concert moment went viral, Jungkook had already changed his Instagram profile picture to an image of David Martinez himself. And in one of his story highlights, he also had a photo of Lucina Kushinada, another major character from the same series who becomes David's love interest throughout the story. For fans who've been following Jungkook for a while, none of this really came as a shock. He's always been fairly open about his love for anime, pop culture, and gaming. But this moment on stage at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium felt like everything finally clicking into place. Like all the little hints suddenly formed one complete picture. A lot of the reactions online were genuinely funny too, people jokingly calling him a true nerd, saying it wasn't enough for him to just watch the anime or set it as his profile picture, he had to bring the character to life in front of thousands of people. Others compared it to the way fans dress up inspired by their favorite idols. Except this time, the idol himself was the one dressing up inspired by his favorite fictional character. Now let's talk about why a moment this small, literally just an outfit, could blow up this big. First, it's about authenticity. In the entertainment industry, especially K-pop, everything is usually mapped out down to the last detail. Concept, choreography, styling, all of it planned by a creative team well in advance. But this moment felt different. It didn't feel like a label-designed concept for a new era or comeback. It felt spontaneous, personal, like a genuine expression of something Jungkook actually loves. And because it felt so unscripted, it hit fans on a much deeper, more relatable level. Because underneath the global superstar status, there's just a person who has hobbies, has a favorite fictional character, and expresses that love in his own way, not that different from how any of us might do the same thing. Second, it's the collision of two massive fandoms. Cyberpunk. Edgerunners already has a huge, deeply loyal global fanbase, especially since it landed on Netflix. The emotional storytelling, the intense action, and that gut punch of an ending made David Martinez one of the most beloved anime protagonists of the past few years. So when the BTS fandom and the Cyberpunk Edgerunners fandom collided over one small moment like this, it created this massive ripple effect across two entirely different online communities at once. Which is exactly why it spread so much faster and wider than your average viral moment. Third, there's just something visually striking about it. That neon yellow-green jacket is genuinely one of the most iconic pieces of anime costume design in recent memory. So the second a globally recognized figure like Jungkook showed up in something that closely echoed it, it immediately stuck in people's minds visually, especially for anyone already familiar with the character design. Now, if you're newer to following Jungkook's journey, it's worth knowing the bigger context here. His love for anime and gaming isn't some brand new discovery. Throughout his career, he's always been someone fairly expressive about his personal interests outside of music, sports, photography, gaming, pop culture in general. So when he showed his love for Cyberpunk Edgerunners through his own social media, it felt like a natural continuation of who he's always been. Someone open about the things he genuinely enjoys. And honestly, that's part of why fans love him even more for this. Because even with an insanely packed schedule as a member of one of the biggest music groups in the world, he still makes room to just be himself. Including something as simple as being a fan of an anime. It's a reminder that behind the massive stages and camera flashes, there's just a person with his own tastes and interests, not that different from the rest of us. Let's zoom out for a second and look at the bigger picture of how far this actually spread. This wasn't just a passing conversation. It turned into one of the more significant trending topics across multiple platforms at once. On X, several major music and pop culture accounts reshared the moment, which instantly expanded its reach way beyond just the BTS fanbase. It's a great example of how one small stage moment can break out of a single fandom bubble and become a cross-community conversation. TikTok went just as wild. Creators started making side-by-side breakdown videos comparing Jungkook's outfit piece by piece to David Martinez's actual design from the anime. Some even made how to dress like David Martinez style tutorials, directly inspired by this moment. On Instagram, posts and discussions kept building momentum too, especially after fans connected it back to his earlier profile picture and story highlights featuring characters from the same series. International entertainment outlets picked up the story as well, calling it one of the most talked about moments from the entire London stop of the Arirang World Tour. Honestly, moments like this are more than just entertainment gossip. They're a pretty good example of how fan culture actually works in this era. Back in the day, the distance between idols and fans felt a lot more formal, a lot more distant. But now, through social media and small human moments like this one, fans get to see a much more personal, much more genuine side of the people they admire. And it's often these small, silly details, an outfit, a hobby, a personal interest, that end up sticking with fans the most, simply because they feel honest and real. For ARMY, this adds one more unforgettable memory to what was already an emotional night in London. And for fans of cyberpunk edge runners, it's yet another proof of just how powerful David Martinez's story is. Powerful enough to inspire someone as globally recognized as Jungkook to bring him to life on one of the biggest stages in the world. So that's the full story behind Jungkook's viral David Martinez moment from the Arirang World Tour in London, the outfit breakdown, the wave of reactions from fans and the internet, and the deeper context behind his love for anime that he's actually been showing for a while now. What do you think about the resemblance? Did you lose your mind the second you saw the photos, or do you think it was just a coincidence? Drop your thoughts in the comments, I'll be reading through them. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, so you don't miss out on more content like this, around K-pop and pop culture, and turn on notifications, so you catch every new upload. Thanks so much for watching all the way through, and I'll see you in the next one.